Okay, so continuing on, this is our video for Module 1 um, for Excel. Um, so what we're going to do with this one is this is the just like what I normally do with a class. I've already done the typing. This is the step-by-step thing that it's asking you to do in Module 1. Um, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to do this. Normally you would have to type, if you did this stuff step by step, you'd already have to type this, but this is out on Blackboard. You can download it. Like I said, it kind of saves you from doing all the steps. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the formula skills that I showed you in the last video. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn this spreadsheet into this spreadsheet. So this is what it'll look like when you're done. I may not get to all the colors and stuff like that, but again, that's in the textbook. But I do want to get through all the math. So so once again, here's what we've got. So we go back here. So we've got what this is a budget for. I'm thinking it's a student just because it's got tuition and books and stuff like that. So this student has income coming in through two different sources. They get wages. Apparently, they have a job, and they have dividends. So we're going to add those things together and figure out what their monthly, for the year, we're going to figure out what their monthly income is for every month. And then down below that, we have their expenses. So in their expenses, rent, food, tuition, these kinds of things. We're going to figure out what the total of those are for the entire year, for every month for the entire year. And then we're also going to go and figure out like how much money, we're going to subtract the expenses from the income and figure out how much money they have left at the very end, and that's down here in net. So we'll show you how I'll show you how this all works. So getting back to this one, as I said in the video, there's different ways to do formulas, and you could just choose whichever one works best for you and fits with the situation that you're working with. Quite often when there's just like two numbers that I need to add together, like this and this to get the total, I will just I won't do any of the formulas that's built into Excel. I will just create the formula myself. In other words, I will say this cell plus this cell and put that formula in here. So once again, you're going to need to learn how to use the autofill, which I showed you in the last video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, please go and catch up with with that. So just start off with a formula. So like I said, when we start off with formula, always one like this. I start off with equal, and then I'm going to just create my formula. And I always say use cell references and click the cell references. Don't type any more than you have to. So I'm going to click this cell, and you see how it puts the B4 in there. I'm just going to hit the plus key, and then I'm going to click this cell, and it puts the B5 in there for you. Like I said, I like to click on these cells because it gives me these little flashy marquee or flashy little banner around it, so I kind of know that I'm right. Once I've got my formula in there and it's correct, I just hit that. And it turns out I got $5,446.83 for that month. And now that I have that formula in this one cell, I can use the autofill to copy this formula all the way across. And what it does is it takes these relative cell references. That's what they're called when they change, because this formula says this cell plus this cell. And then because I drug it across, now you'll see that this formula says this cell plus this cell. I didn't have to type it. I just used the autofill and let it do its thing. And you'll see how the cell references change. It says C4 plus C5. This one said B4 plus B5. This one will say D4 plus D5. So that autofill is your friend. It helps you get these cells done quickly. And over here, you'll see that I have a total. I'll hold off on this total column for just a second. So now I'm going to go down here and do the total for my expenses. Now I could go in here and do the formula just like I did up here. I could go up here and say this, start my formula with the equals, and then click my cells all the way through it. This plus this plus this plus. Now that works. It's fine. It's just probably not the most efficient way of doing this. So probably this would be a good time to use one of Excel's formulas functions that it has built in. So like I said before, it's like I can click on this, and you'll notice that when let me turn this off. Hold on, let me get out of here again. So like up here, it just gives it says that I'm in cell B17 because that's where I want my formula to go. I want to go in B17. But watch this cell, this B17. As soon as I start a formula, so I hit equal, and see how that changes to sum. And I click the down arrow, and like here's like some of the functions that I can use. Now I do want sum. Now the thing to remember is just because you see sum here doesn't mean it's part of your formula. You absolutely have to click it to pop it in there. And when you click it, you'll see that it gives you what it thinks it wants, what it thinks you probably want your formula to be. Do not trust this. Don't trust this at all, just because it lies to you enough that you shouldn't trust it. So what I always do is, like, once I get this formula going, I just go ahead and click and drag so that I have my banner around it, so I know that this is what I want to do. So, and I can see that this is going to, and you see that it says the sum of the range B9 through B16. So it's going to add all of these cells together and give me the total of it. So I hit enter and 3205. Now, again, just like we did the autofill up here, we can do the autofill here, drag it all the way across. And you'll see when I click on this, you'll see that my formula changes, but it's the same formula, except it's just got different cell references. This is the sum. The original one was sum B9 through B16. I did the autofill and drug across, so this is C9 through C16, D9 through D16. So it copies the formula, but it changes the cell references that you use. So this autofill thing is going to be really, really handy for you. All right, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to figure out what our net is. So in other words, this is how much money we have left over at the end of every month. So it's going to be the total for my income minus my total for my expenses. This one almost is a real simple formula, so we're just going to click our way through it. So equals total for income minus total for expenses. And then it says B6 total for income minus B17 total for expenses. And then I can click and drag that all the way across. So, like I said, we've done let's see, this is 12 formulas, this is 24 formulas, this is 36 formulas. We did 36 formulas, but we really only created 3. We just used the autofill to let Excel create the rest of them for us. I'm going to create a few more because what it wants is the total for these for everything. So it wants the total for my wages, the total for my dividends, the total for my total. And the same thing, total rent for the entire year. So I'm going to create a couple more formulas, and this is one where you're going to use a range. So you're going to use a sum function. So equals, and I'll show you how to do this in a different way. So rather than clicking sum here, I'm going to go up here and click on auto sum. And again, it puts a marquee around what it thinks I want to use, but again, this will lie to you. So I always just click and drag just to make sure that what I see is what I want this formula to be. So it says the sum of B4 through M4. So it's going to give me the sum of all of these wages. And I say, okay. And then I can go over here and I click on this autofill and drag that straight down. Now this one is going to be the sum of, I'm going to get the sum for my rent, the sum for my rent, sum for my food, the sum of my total tuition. So it's going to give this total column is going to give me the sum for each of these individual things. So again, the same format. We'll click on auto sum, or I could use sum. It doesn't matter which one you use. Just make sure you put the formula in correctly. I'm going to click and drag just to make me happy. and then I want to drag down. Okay, so our total for our income was $25,064.86. Our total for our expenses was $18,865.64. So now we'll figure out how much money we actually have left over at the end of the year. So same formulas we have here. So really, because it's just going to subtract this from this. I'm sorry, subtract this from this, and that same formula is actually here because this formula. Look, this formula says this minus this. So what I want to do is have this minus this, which is pretty much the same formula except the cell references are different. So I can use this formula and just drag it over one more, and there it is. So I have $6,199.22 left over at the end of the month. Okay, so show you a couple more things. I'll show you how to do this again. Here we have this banner up at the top. Oops. This banner up at the top, and this is a banner underneath that. And notice how this cell goes all the way across. And now here's something interesting. It says that let's click on this one. It says that I'm in cell A1 right here, A1. But if I try to click on B1, it still says I'm in A1. E1, it still says I'm in A1. What this is a merged cell. All of this, all the way over through N, is all cell A1. There is no M1, L1, K1. Those don't exist anymore. There's only A1. So to make this work, we'll do the same thing with A2 and drag it all the way across. So what to do is what you're going to do is you're going to select the cells that you want to merge together. So I want to merge cells A1 all the way to N1. So I have all of those cells selected. And let me just to make sure that we're clear, big fat white plus sign is how you select. Big fat white plus sign, click and drag all the way across. So this is all of the cells that I want to turn into a merged cell. So and up here on my home ribbon in my alignment group, there's a button that says merge and center, and that's exactly what this is going to do. This is going to merge and center it. So all of the cells, and like I said, there is no L1. Everything is A1. I can do the same thing with A2. Click and drag to select, and then merge and center, and that puts that in there. Now, let's see, Calibri Light 18. So this one, to get this thing, they changed this to the font to Calibri Light, this, and then font size is 18. And then they made it this color, and they made it bold too. So let's make it this color. This color. It's this color. And then we'll make it bold. And then we'll do the same thing with this. So this is 14. So this, we're going to say Calibri Light, 14-point font, bold, and the same color as before. All right. Now, the months are a cell style. So the months, what these are going to be, income all the way over to total, these are a particular cell style called heading 1. This is kind of like the same thing I was talking about using headings in Word. So I'm just going to click on all of these because I want to change them all. And then I'm going to go to my cell styles and I'm going to click on heading 1. Now you notice like sometimes like September going to get chopped off. If you have months that get chopped off, all you got to do, the easy way is just to put your mouse, watch what happens to my mouse when I put it in between two columns. See how it becomes a double-headed arrow? If I double click when it's that double-headed arrow, it's going to make every column just big enough so that all of the data shows up. Whoops, and keep going. September, October, November. And then I can do the same thing over here with expenses. I'm going to click on all of these, and I'm going to change these to my heading 1 cell style. Cell style, heading 1. Now, my math, my total column down here, the total column here, this is actually a cell style called total. So we got this one and this one. Both of these have a cell style of total. So I can just click on all of these, drag. And just so you know, I can actually do both at the same time. So I can select multiple non-adjacent cells. I can hold down, I selected the first one, I can hold down the control key and select the second range like this. So now they're both selected, and I can just go up here and change my cell styles to total. And see how it changes the way that total row looks. Kind of get a border on the top and the bottom, stuff like that. We're going to change. Notice how like the first row of our income and the first row of our expenses and both total rows have dollar signs. And this is, and you see up here, it's an accounting format. So I'm going to go through and kind of select these again. So I'm going to go through and select this. I'll hold the shift key down again. Select, whoops, sorry, not the shift key, I meant the control key. This, hold the control key, select this. And then I'm also going to choose the wages. I'm just going to do all of these at the same time. And then the rent. So all of these are selected, and I'm just going to change all of these to accounting. Now, see what happened in April? See these pound signs? Anytime you see this, what this means is the number in here is too big to show in that cell. So anytime you see like these things that are pounded out, it doesn't mean that there's an error. It just means that that number is too big to show in the cell. So sometimes what you need to do is I'm going to have to make April a little bigger. So again, I'll put my mouse in between E and F, in between these columns, and that just makes it a little bit bigger, and then they show up. Okay. Last thing I'll do is show you how to do these colors. We got every other color, every other line is a different, not a different color, but every other line is a particular color, different shades of orange. So what we're going to do is we'll do it, I'll go through and I'll select like every other line. And I'll do the control key, I'll do it with the control key. So I'm going to select wages, and then I'm going to go down and select rent. Whoops, keep wanting to hit the shift key. Wages, control, rent, tuition, entertainment, and gas. And then I'm going to change the background of this. So I'm going to use this fill bucket. And I'm going to change the background of this to this lighter orange, like this. And now I'm going to go through and select the rest of the line. So I'm going to select dividends. Hold the control key down, select food, books, car payment, and miscellaneous. Now I have every other line selected, and I'm going to change this to the one shade darker orange. So it's like, instead of it being this, we'll select this one. Does it look like it wants to change all? Oh, there it goes. This one. I think I selected the wrong one earlier. But there you go. So see how it changes the font color. All right. Okay, one more thing I want to show you before we get through with this thing is I want to show you how to do a chart. And charts are easy. The hard part about doing a chart is selecting what you want to chart. So let's just say I want to chart my income for every month. So what I want to do is I want to have a bar chart down here. This has got January and then a bar for my income in January, February, March, April, May, all the way across. So to do this, you've got to, again, select two different groups of non-adjacent cells. I want to select January all the way through December. And then I want to hold the control key down and I want to select the total income for those months, just like that. So I've got the month name and then the month total income for this. That's the hard part. The easy part is just selecting the chart that you want to use. So I'm going to select insert, go to my insert group. I have a chart group. I want to use my bar chart. So I'm going to click on this and I'm just going to choose a 3D bar chart. And you'll see there is my chart. I'll move it down here a little bit. I will put it here just so you can see it. So here's my, you can see January and July, that's when my dividends showed up. So those are why my months are like that. Okay, so that's how to do a chart. Now I'll do one more. I'll do another chart. And this time I'll do a 3D pie chart. And this time I'm going to do like how much of my expenses go to rent, how much of my expenses are food, tuition. Let's figure out how much of my expenses are everything. And I'll use a pie chart for this. So again, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select the names, because this is kind of important, because this is going to give me the names. It's going to give me a legend. So what I'm talking about is just looking at this one. Oops, let me move this back up. See, this is my legend down here. So January, February, March. So because I selected these months earlier, that's where those names came from. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one, except I'm going to select the names for my expenses and then my total expenses. So just do it the same way. I'm going to select my names. I'm going to hold the control key down because I got to select multiple non-adjacent ranges. And then I'm going to go over here and select my total for these ranges. So both of them are selected. See how they're kind of grayed out. And now I'm going to go up here to my insert again. And then I'm going to click this little pie chart. Down arrow, I'm going to choose a 3D pie. And you'll see, here's what I've got. Rent is like blue, and then food is orange, and tuition is gray, books are yellow. So it kind of created this pie chart off of what I selected. So the hard part about doing a chart is selecting what you want. But that's how to do a 3D, that's how to do the module 1 for Excel. Hope this clears everything up, and talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.